And we've added some street cred to our podcast a little bit here.
Yeah, yes.
Chaboy got in some legal trouble last week. It's been a very
Man.
interesting week, and it's going to be continually interesting the next few weeks.
Yeah, I was very vague about last week. I just told him Adam and Topher are off.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not in this week. Yeah.
One of us was way off.
Oh my god. I mean,
got to meet
a rebel.
Got to meet some really nice police officers and some not so nice prison guards, but hopefully that's all in the past now.
Well, yes, it's an experience. It's a life experience. You know?
It really was. It was very, because you always hear about people getting in trouble, but you don't know what it's like. And then once you experience it and you see it from the other side, you're like, oh, okay, so this is what's going on over here. I hope I never have to relive it again.
No, exactly. No, it's not a good thing. Did they feed you? Did you get a bologna sandwich?
I did get a bologna sandwich.
I hate the bologna sandwich.
They give you but it's funny, they give you like prepackaged bread and prepackaged bologna, and you have to make it yourself. Not make it, you know.
Yeah, put it together.
Yeah. I was sitting in a cell with some poor 19-year-old and some guy who didn't speak English, and we were all just sitting there just commiserating, eating our bologna sandwiches.
It was all in for the same crime.
Yes.
Yeah. So that usually happens, especially if you're cooperative.
Right.
Yeah, right. And yeah, I know. It's so crazy how, even though it's decades and decades ago, like it's just in my memory. Everything was in my, the whole experience. And wait, how did someone pick you up? Did you Uber or what? Like afterwards?
I Ubered.
You Ubered. See, I didn't have that. I had to get to a payphone.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
That is to be walking and like, oh man, it was so depressing. No one would pick up at home.
Well, that was the funny thing, is everyone that was released at the same time I was, we were all just kind of standing on the sidewalk on our phones, like, trying to call Uber, figure out how the hell we were getting home.
Times have changed. That makes it so much easier.
Well,
I actually, when I was Ubering, because I did Uber for about, I think, a couple months or 3 months.
You're talking about driving Uber.
Driving Uber, yeah. And I stopped it because it wasn't profitable.
I can't imagine it is.
Oh, dude, it was, especially because they take, like, if you end up going to LA, like LAX or something, you're screwed. Yeah, it's like, especially coming back down. Anyway, so a lot of guys I was driving around had DUIs, and they were using Uber to get to work.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, I mean, at least they have that, right? But it's a cost. I mean, the
option's there.
I mean, if you factor it in, what would it be, like $30 a day, something like that, or more even?
Way more.
Like, so it's not even feasible in a sense.
Yeah,
anyway, cool. Well, welcome back, dude. You sound good. You're positive. Despite everything.
Well, I'm feeling a lot better. The past week also included a fun hospital stay, so that was great. It was fun. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get into it, because this is the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. Joining me as always is I Want to Believe Adam, and everybody. I am Tell It All Topher.
Yes, you're gonna tell it all today, aren't you?
I've already told too much, I feel.
I know what you mean. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Moving on. We've had an interesting, I guess, week or 10 days or something. I don't know if this started last week, but it continued on to this week. And look who it is. This is on Scientific American.
Unreal, this guy.
Yeah. So here's what I learned.
The Fauci of UFOs.
UFO Fauci. Yeah.
UFO Fauci, yeah.
I put that on Twitter, and then only one guy responded and goes, no. Like,
yes.
F off, man. He's exactly like Fauci. He's a lying career bureaucrat, doesn't give a crap about the people.
Mm-hmm.
He's a yes man. He does what the government tells him to, whether it's good for the country or not. He thinks what the government tells him to do is good for the country.
And that's always a problem. If you believe what your government tells you to do is good, that's a serious problem.
I mean, like Fauci, like so many emails came out, and he was there. All these emails came out, and he was like from 3 p.m. to like 3 a.m. in the morning. He was arguing back and forth with scientists. Not really arguing. He was worried that it was going to get out that COVID was is this going to get us? I'm going to say it quickly that COVID was a lab leak, right?
Mm-hmm.
So publicly, he's like, no, that's a conspiracy theory. What are you guys talking? And then when you look at his emails, he confirms it and was scared that it's going to leak out. And he covered it up, and he's still covering it up. And there's so many other things he's covering up. So he reminds me of this Kirkpatrick. The guy left and retired. And do you know he did a Scientific American article, which is showing right here. He did a Vice article. He did a podcast on CNN. And
we all know how trustworthy CNN is.
Yeah, exactly. Did you know they launched like an app, a CNN app or something called CNN Go, I think, and it only lasted a month?
I didn't even think it was. I think it was CNN Plus or something. Yeah, but I know.
Oh yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I remember that.
Or a week or something. It lasted.
It was not very long.
No, it wasn't. So yeah, exactly. So he goes on CNN, and then so all he's doing is talking smack about the community. Yeah, every community has bad actors. Every community has people that dox and and just do bad things.
Mm-hmm.
But we are an educated community about this. We know the history of this subject, and the people forced him out, and that's why I think he's sour about it.
Sour grapes, a little bitter.
Yeah. So this is his letter of, I guess, of him leaving. So he goes, "Here's what I learned as the U.S. government's UFO hunter."
Oh God.
Oh man, where's his stuff? Look how he starts. He starts out with Carl Sagan, first of all, who was a debunker, and he ended up before his death. He wrote a book called Contact, which became a movie.
Right.
Before that, he was always dissing the subject, so it was like a signal.
Yeah, one of the famous debunkings that Carl Sagan did was of the Betty and Barney Hill. I'm sorry. No, it was Betty and Barney Hill when Betty came back and she had the star maps. And Carl Sagan, goes, "Oh, this could be anything.
You're kidding me.
This isn't a map. These are just random dots that happen to line up with the stars." And it was like, okay, man,
that happened to line up with the stars. Okay, Zedi reticulate too, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the type of person he was. So that's how he starts this article. Carl Sagan, because he wrote this, popularized the maxim that, quote, "extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence." Oh, thanks, man. This advice should not be optional for policymakers. So see, he's trying to tell Congress and the Senate, to quit this stuff.
Right.
In today's world of misinformation, conspiracy-driven decision-making, and sensationalist-dominated governance, our capacity for rational, evidence-based critical thinking is eroding, with deleterious consequences for our ability to effectively deal with multiplying challenges of ever-increasing complexity. Wow, Sean, you're I don't know. That's just like how. What's your reaction when I read that? I mean, he's using all the jargon, like all the World Economic Forum jargon.
That's exactly what my thought was. This just sounds like a person that knows to use all the right buzzwords to sound smart. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's sad. He's got to put the conspiracy in there and misinformation, sensationalist, and then he's the rational one, and he's the one using evidence-based critical thinking.
So did you see in this? Okay, so this is only kind of related.
Yeah,
just the common thought. But did you see the picture that was posted of Biden? He's got the construction helmet on
backwards. Yes.
And then Snopes, when people were like reposting that picture, were going, he's got it on backwards. You guys know that it's on backwards, right?
Right.
And Snopes did a fact check and said false. It's not backwards. And then they had to go back and refix. Everyone's like, so you're telling us this picture and our eyes are lying to us that the helmet's not on backwards. And they had to go back and fix it. But in their fix it post, if you scroll up to that very top paragraph, it was the same thing where they just list a bunch of jargon word salad using all the right buzzwords to make it seem like, oh, we just didn't understand what the picture was saying or something like that. Like, it was such a stupid
I didn't know they went back and changed. I did know that they put false.
You should look up the
Snopes, Biden hard hat.
Yeah.
Okay, let me share this. Snopes, here we go. Let's share this instead. Did Biden wear a hard hat backwards in photo op with construction workers? So, yeah, it was a picture from Senator Amy Klobuchar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here it is.
And you can that black plastic piece on his forehead. That's the part that goes on the back of your head. That's how everyone can tell it was backwards. But seriously, like, zoom out of the picture and look at, like, just, you don't even have to read it. Just start looking at.
Oh,
See, it says
they
true.
changed it.
That's what I just said. They changed it true, but
Oh, okay.
no,
I didn't
scroll
hear
down,
that.
scroll down.
Okay.
Editor's note. Start just
Yeah.
look at some of the stuff in here. It's just a word salad. Here's the first sentence. We received a ton of comments in a very short time challenging our assumption that wearing a hard hat backwards means wearing it with the brim facing to the rear, and forwards means wearing it brim to the front. So they're challenging what the words backwards and forwards means. That's their original statement.
Man, these people, this website should be shut down.
But okay, listen. Look, the prevailing counter argument is that if the suspension of the hat has been purposely configured by its owner such that the bill and tightening knob are worn to the back, as was in the case of the hat Biden wore, to wear that hat with the bill facing forward is, practically speaking, to wear it backwards. That is a whole sentence that meant that is just word salad.
This is like
Therefore,
1984.
it's argued it's actually true that in the photo I've discussed below, Biden was wearing it backwards. The strap and tightening knob, which should have been behind Biden's head, were on his forehead.
What?
A corollary to that argument is Biden looks damn silly in any case. We find these arguments sound. It's ridiculous. It's word salad.
Wow. Complete word salad. Just say you were wrong and you lied.
Exactly. It's not even that they were wrong. It's that they lied.
They lied, literally lied, because they said that it wasn't like, don't believe your eyes. It's not backwards.
Right.
Oh, man. But yeah, you're right. That's exactly what we're dealing with.
Yep.
That's exactly what we're dealing with. These people, it's like mind control, but it doesn't work anymore. These tricks used to work all the time. Snopes used to work all the time.
Mm-hmm.
These tactics of just, saying everything's a misinformation, disinformation, and a conspiracy.
Yeah.
That word used to just shut up everyone. It doesn't anymore.
Well, and I take great umbrage with the fact that Snopes is considered a fact checker when they're not. They're a propaganda machine,
and it's too late because
they're always used as quote unquote proof that something is true or false. When, as we just showed you, they're not looking for the truth or falsehood. They're just pushing whatever agenda they need to push.
Politics, and. I think Facebook still uses them. So which means when that was shared on Facebook, even though it's true, it was probably blocked.
Right.
Because Snopes said it's false. And now that it said it's true, I don't think
they're not going to go back and fix it. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It's like those articles that the title lies, and then the next day they print like a correction.
Yeah. But no one cares because they're just using the original article title as their proof
right,
or
because and we know this is that first impressions mean everything.
Yes,
the first article, even though it's a lie, that's what goes into the collective conscious.
100%.
Yeah. So I mean, and they know that they can get away with just lying and saying, "Oh, sorry, here's a correction."
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. So look at this guy. He calls them conspiracists, also known as UFOs. The result of this whirlwind of tall tales, fabrication, and secondhand or third-hand retellings of the same was a social media frenzy and a significant amount of congressional and executive time and energy spent on investigating these so-called claims, as if we didn't have anything better to do.
Unreal, this guy.
Yeah, I mean, what is his problem? The conspiracist's story goes something like this. Oh, let him. He's going to illuminate us with what the story is. You want to get this one?
The U.S. has been hiding and attempting to reverse engineer as many as 12 UFOs from as early as the 1960s and perhaps earlier. This great cover-up and conspiracy failed to produce any salient results, and consequently, the effort was abandoned to some private sector defense contractors to continue the work. Sometime later, the story continues, those private sector contractors wanted to bring the whole program back under U.S. government auspices.
Yeah.
Apparently, the CIA stopped this supposed transfer back to the U.S. government All of this is without substantiating evidence, but alas, belief in a statement is directly proportional to the volume in which it is transmitted and the number of times it is repeated, not the actual facts.
Oh my god, this guy, man. I mean,
Don't
so
believe your lying eyes.
yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Look at this. First, no record exists of any president or living DOD or intelligence community leader knowing about this alleged program, nor any congressional committee having such knowledge. Oh, it's like some or many presidents have not been told about this, right? Members of Congress have not been told about this. Like a very select few, very select few. I think handful within the 80 years of the cover up, so for him to use that, it's like that's the problem, man. Is that it's so overclassified.
Yeah.
And we've covered this before with Richard Dolan, and even Grush talking about this, and even Congress knowing this. Like Burchett, he always says it's like looking down a barrel of a gun. That's all they know. They don't know the big picture. So that doesn't make that's not a good argument there.
Not even, yeah. Oh man, it's just so frustrating to see that this is the official party line.
Yeah, and he's blaming now Bigelow and Harry Reid. Harry Reid, yes, he's the one that basically started this because he knew he was a senator from Nevada.
Mhm.
He was the Speaker of the House, very powerful, right? Very influential. He knew something was happening and he wanted it to come out. And everyone knows the story, right? Of OSAP. He started that. He got the funding, and he basically hired Grush because of his clearances and his great reputation. He hired them. They hired him, or the U.S. UAP task force hired him to go find out about this.
Right.
And that's why this guy is upset, because they were outed. The secret was outed. They were found out. Congress knew about it. And then the DOD took over OSAP, or they took over the UAP task force, made it OSAP, and then made it into Arrow, and then put it in Kirkpatrick. Because it wasn't under the DOD before. I mean,
it's just the level of deception and lies that have been used to cover this up is just it's baffling to watch. It's baffling that we're not up in arms about that, because this isn't just the UFO stuff. This is everything. This is 9/11.
everything.
This is
Everything.
WMDs in the Middle East.
Yes.
This is trading.
JFK.
This is JFK. I mean, this is everything.
Yes, it is. It's a bureaucratic state. It's whatever, corporatism, crony capitalism, whatever you want to call it. It's just about power and money, and that and to keep everyone else suppressed. I mean, so even now, Vice, former Pentagon UFO investigator, is pissed because Congress believes in conspiracy theories. They're still using that. It's so funny. There he is. What do they say here? Oh, so why did he stop hunting for UFOs on behalf of the American government? In short, because congressional leaders believe in conspiracy theories with absolutely no substantial proofs. Our efforts were ultimately overwhelmed by sensational but unsupported claims that ignored contradictory evidence, yet captured the attention of policymakers and the public, driving legislative battles and dominating the public narrative. Here's a question. So, if this is true, what he's saying, that's unsubstantiated, right? Mm-hmm. Why did they gut the UAP Disclosure Act? Why?
There's not a good answer for it.
I mean, everything in there was gone. All it said was, if some agencies have some information on UAPs, they have to disclose it. That's it. That was all that was left in there. I mean, the thing is, so many people are going to believe this. I mean, half the population is going to say, "Oh, I knew it." Conspiracy theorists, are just convincing the government of a lie. And that's what's so dangerous about this. That they repeat that Kirkpatrick said the Arrow did investigate this tale. No record exists of any president or living DOD. Oh, we read that. By the way, do you know Arrow doesn't have the clearances to actually look at what Grush uncovered?
Shocker.
So they can't even go investigate. So it's like a double lie.
Oh my God, our government at work. Just
I
they're
know.
complete buffoons.
All right, you know what? Let's move on. Well, we're still going to talk about it because there's
Oh
some
yeah.
interesting stuff that came out. So this is Adam Goldsack on X. He goes, the close working relationship between Susan Go and Sean Kirkpatrick tells us everything we need to know about both individuals and their intentions. Susan Go is the PR or communications director for the DoD. So yeah, if you write the DoD, she will respond, or her office will respond.
Right.
And there she is, right there, right behind Kirkpatrick.
Yeah, it's always good when the marketing person and the lead speaker of the group are like hanging out together.
She's literally his handler. Look, who's the Dr. Taylor? So I attended Kirkpatrick's last public event as Aero director at George Mason University in Arlington, Virginia last fall. During the reception, he mingled with the crowd. Their problem was his mingling included a shadow by Pentagon spokesperson Susan Go, who never left his side for a full hour, even if anyone tried to have a one-on-one conversation with the good quote-unquote scientist.
Oh, that's not
It
creepy
was,
at all.
it was eerily reminiscent of a Soviet-era minder. He
Mm-hmm.
literally paused and looked at her to see if he'd get a nod or a head shake before he answered some questions a friend and I had. The answers he did offer were rife with doublespeak, patronizing dismissals, wordplay, and semantics. That is the quote unquote science being discussed here. What a joke.
It really is a joke.
Yeah, and he's probably gonna cry about it.
Oh,
Social
of course.
media, they're harassing me.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so yeah, this is the Spotify. Here, let's take a listen. So he's on CNN. Or you're gonna love this one. You're gonna love this one.
Kirkpatrick says his investigators ultimately traced this game of top secret telephone back to fewer than a dozen people.
They're some of the same people that worked for Robert Bigelow under the DIA program. They're some of the same people that have been working behind the scenes with Congress to write legislation. They're the same people that worked with a U.S. company and the United States Army to explore a piece of material that they claimed was a UAP, and it really is a piece of missile casing from the
Did you hear that? Missile casing.
1950s. They're the same people that have been influencing some of these whistleblowers who have come forward to say, hey, I don't have any firsthand evidence, but all these people are telling me this. Here's what I know.
The most public of these whistleblowers is the former Pentagon official whose voice you heard at the beginning of the show, testifying about crashed alien spacecraft before a U.S. congressional committee.
I was informed of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
I do want to just add something here. If Grush is lying, he goes to prison for a very long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He swore under oath in front of Congress. So,
Biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
So he's one of the individuals that I think this core group of people that have influenced him, have told him this information. He may have misinterpreted things that people have said, or he may have just fallen to the influence these folks have been telling him. In either event, at the time I left,
I think biologics, they meant like poop droppings or something.
Yeah. I was just thinking, so we were testing out this balloon and we couldn't even get off the ground. And then I imagine Grush running out of the room screaming, UFO! UFO!
I knew it, there were saucers. Oh my God, this guy, man. I mean, because he's trying to be respectful, because he's not going to say he lied or he's lying. Oh, he probably misinterpreted.
Left, he had not come in to speak to Arrow, so I can't say with 100% what he has to say, only what he's put out into the media.
Did you hear that? He just said Grush never came in to speak to them.
Speak to Arrow, so I can't say with 100%.
Wait.
To the influence of what these folks have been telling him. In either event, At the time I left, he had not come in to speak to Arrow, so I can't say with 100% what he has to say, only what he's put out into the media and what others have come to tell us. So you see what I'm saying? There's this commonality.
What he's saying is actually quite ironic, because the true believer about UFOs thinks that there's a government conspiracy to hide real evidence of aliens. What Kirkpatrick is saying is the actual conspiracy is being carried out by a group of UFO true believers to get the government involved in the business of investigating aliens. I was searching for the right metaphor, but I think this is known as a self-licking ice cream cone.
That is a self-licking ice cream cone, exactly.
The self
So funny.
They're so clever.
Oh my God, man. I mean,
Who listens to these people and go, yeah, these people are the ones we should be listening to. They're clearly don't have an agenda here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really it's just a PR campaign, right? That's exactly what's going on here.
Exactly.
And that music, doo-doo-doo-doo.
Always, every time.
And here's this. So of course, the internet's gonna hold them responsible for a lot of these things.
And that none of the conspiracy-minded whistleblowers had come to Arrow to provide their evidence for the record, despite numerous invitations.
Smash cut.
First, say thank you all very much for referring the witnesses that you have thus far to us. I appreciate that. We've brought in nearly 24 so far.
Unreal, these people.
I'd ask that you continue to.
Didn't he just say 0?
Oh yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah, just like Fauci.
It's almost like you just come up with the headline.
Yeah. It's so, and like the guy, I can't tell he's lying. And that's how good it is. Like these guys are professional, like liars and deceivers,
Yep.
and occupying really important positions in our government.
It's terrifying.
That none of the conspiracy-minded whistleblowers had
None.
come to Arrow to provide their evidence for the record, despite numerous invitations. And that none.
Oh my God. It's
People
too
are
funny.
I keep saying it. I'm going to say it again. Don't believe your lying eyes.
Yeah, that's what they're telling you.
Listen to what the government tells you. Don't trust, don't trust your ears, don't trust your eyes.
Yeah, COVID
Isn't that
is
literally like Fahrenheit 451 or Brave New World or 1984?
Yep.
All of those.
1984. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. The government is saying, "Oh, that's not what you're seeing is not true. What we're telling you is true."
Right.
So, per a Senate source, this is Merrick VR, Kirkpatrick appears to be a disinformation agent. He is not being honest about what he heard from the whistleblowers that were referred.
Yeah. As we
Arrow
just
shared, right. And Arrow shared no info on UAP whistleblowers with Congress. DSD Hicks, I don't know what that means, may have fired Kirkpatrick. That's awesome. And yeah, he was fired, right?
Sure
The
hope
people
so.
fired him.
He's still in the public. He's still in the public eye and acts as a spokesperson, though.
Yeah, and that's the annoying part. He got a CNN podcast. He was in Scientific American Journal, on Vice. I mean, those are huge publications, and he's just spewing these lies. And when the DOD was confronted about it, they said, "Oh, he's a private citizen now, so he can say what he wants." So they weren't going to comment. Okay, yeah, that's Michael Sala. He's not. I mean, he's talking about science-based strategy. Maybe we don't need to do this one. Oh yeah, this is funny. Vicky Verma, he's a good account. He's a good account on X, always sharing like historical stuff. He goes, Kirkpatrick solved 75-year-old Roswell mystery. All UFO researchers just wasted their time, and some died without knowing the truth. Aliens are none other than U.S. government who are manufacturing high-altitude metallic spy balloons.
Of course.
Now we can all die in peace.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, look at this. He actually commented on
what
Roswell.
What Kirkpatrick learned about Roswell conspiracy theories. I'll try and get through this quick.
Nice.
The Roswell story began in 1947 when the U.S. military first put out a report saying it captured a flying saucer near the Roswell Army Airfield in New Mexico. They would later retracted the claim and put out the new official story that it was a weather balloon. The damage was done. To this day, conspiratorial thinkers gotta label them, believe that alien bodies were discovered or recovered amid the wreckage. But Kirkpatrick chalks all of the UFO hoopla up to a top secret government program not to reverse engineer alien ships, but to manufacture high altitude metallic spy balloons. In his estimation, recovery operations to retrieve those down balloons, as well as a very fatal military plane crash at the time, combined to perpetuate the UFO myth.
Wow.
Everybody's still raw from the war, and there's lots of technological issues that people are trying to wrap their minds around, Kirkpatrick said. And that affected a lot of what people saw and how they reported. I think the same thing is true today.
Poor dumb people. And this is what this guy thinks, that people are just dumb.
A lot of people are dumb, I'll give them that, but the sheep are becoming less and less. I'll put it that way.
Yes, that's definitely true. But he's also saying that people, again, the whole like lying eyes thing, like the witnesses that saw all this, that picked up the wreckage, that were crumbling it up, that were trying to cut it, that were trying to burn it, and it kept its state, it kept going back to its original state, all that stuff. It was just a balloon.
I think we found the title of our episode this week. Your lying eyes.
Yes, I like that one. Yes. Believe your lying eyes. So sad, man. So sad. So this one I thought would be good. We're not gonna watch the whole thing, obviously, but we'll put the link to it. Multiple pilots on record in 40-minute video. So all these people, all of them, historical UFO videos were just hallucinating.
And one of the very first big time UFO sightings, of course, I can't remember his name. It was Kenneth Arnold. He was flying a plane, and saw 9 disc shaped, saucers, flying not super close to him, but not far away either. You could tell they were disc shaped, and called them in. And it was one of the biggest phenomena of the day. I mean, he was getting interviewed as he landed his plane. It was nuts.
Exactly. Yes, and he coined. Well, he said they were flying. It looked like exactly. That's where it came from. The whole flying saucers thing. So this is a great video.
It was a perfect shape. It was shaped sort of like a pearl with a tail.
I think even 1931, Sir Francis Chichester made the first solo flight from New Zealand to Australia.
And I watched this thing, and suddenly it disappeared. And I thought, well, am I seeing things? I'd had a very grueling flight. I'd been waiting for. I had engine trouble, and I'd been waiting for hours, expecting to go into the sea, However, suddenly this thing reappeared, coming towards me. And I thought, well, I'm not going to let it go this time. And I kept my look fixed on it. And it was approaching fairly fast. And then suddenly, gradually rather, it began to thin out, and it vanished in front of me, and before my eyes. It became a sort of ghost. I could see the water, the waves of the sea through it for one instant.
Crazy.
And then it vanished.
That is crazy.
And he even said, he's like, I thought I was seeing things, and then it reappeared, So I just hate when people talk about witnesses saying, oh, they're probably hallucinating, or people actually have these internal discussions with themselves, and they're going to come forward and say something, it's after they've had a discussion, or they thought about it, especially someone like him. I didn't know he pioneered aviation and sailing. I mean,
well, he clearly saw some Chinese drones in 1931.
Here's what you were talking about. So this is him. This is Kenneth
Arnold.
Let's listen to him.
I would say approximately is where I had this terrific flash hit the air. My aircraft lit up the inside of my aircraft, and I assumed, of course, at the time in a split second that it was probably a P-51 fighter that had dove over my nose, and that it was the sun's reflecting upon these bright wing surfaces that caused it. However, before I gathered my wits together, I looked way off here to the north, and then when I saw where the flash came from, it was an echelon formation of a very peculiar-looking aircraft, and they were rapidly approaching Mount Rainier, and it was at about this point when I got here, I could see their tail surfaces, or the rear end of them, and the second craft from the rear had a more or less crescent-shaped look, and it had a hole in the center of it. And of course, I kept mulling in my mind, that's the damnedest looking airplane I ever saw.
Well, that's what I love about
Donald
guys
timed
like
the cough. And
both of
Yeah.
both these people. I mean, listen, they don't immediately go, "Oh my God,
Right.
UFO." They go, "What? This is a weird plane. This is a
Mhm.
bomber. You know, what is this?" They're not looking for UFOs. They're trying to see like something that currently existed in their time, and they're trying to rationalize it. They don't just
Exactly.
immediately assume UFOs. And this is both of these sightings were before UFOs were like a common nomenclature. People,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he coined the term, or the media did coin the term after this, but exactly. He went through, he was questioning. He's like, oh, it's got to be this, maybe it's that. And then he looked further into it. He analyzed it internally too. Most people do this. No one's just going to go, like, oh, it's a saucer. Like, I know there's memes out there that show that, but most people are not like that. You know,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
want to find a rational explanation for what you're seeing.
right. Yeah, exactly. So this is a great video. It's 40 minutes. I do recommend our listeners to go watch it. And it just proves Kirkpatrick is just a liar.
Yeah.
You know, a complete liar. And he's doing what the US government or whoever, I'm not going to just blame the government. What he's part of, this cover up, okay, is the problem. And he's just doing their bidding. But look what comes out after his stupid reports.
Pentagon moves to declassify some secret space programs and technologies.
Isn't that nuts?
It is nuts. Some officials at the Pentagon have been calling for such a new classification policy for years.
Yeah. So I don't know if they get into the details though.
I doubt it. But yeah, I mean, this is coming alongside of the development of the Space Force. There's a lot of fun, exciting stuff happening with space, not just UFOs.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying it's because China is catching up really quick, and they don't overclassify things, right? I mean, they steal from us, but then they give it to scientists and their people, and it's not overclassified. So they catch up really quick. Obviously, when more people work on something and it's freely shared, you get better information. It's called crowdsourcing. It's a well-known tactic to get, it's the quickest way to solve a problem is crowdsourcing.
Exactly.
So I think that's what's forcing them to do this. They're not saying what they're declassifying, but it's good. It's a good.
It's a good first step.
Yeah, it is. And Kirkpatrick is still lying.
Yes, of course he is.
And then this comes out. So again, maybe that's why Kirkpatrick is coming out too, because he knew these two things were happening. So an uncoordinated internal watchdog wraps Pentagon's UFO tracking effort. The DoD has no overarching UAP policy, a report says. This is in Politico. So it's the DoD IG that did this report, right? Or who's that office that does the watchdog? I forget the name.
Oh, I do too.
But it's an unclassified report. Oh, the IG. So it is the IG. So after an investigation, the IG found that the Defense Department doesn't have a quote-unquote coordinated approach. Yeah.
Because they outsourced it. I'm just kidding.
Right.
Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not kidding.
No, you're absolutely right. It's because it's the contractors who are doing it. They're running the operation, and that means you can't FOIA it. It can be need to know. It can be buried in SAPs. So has developed varying processes for collecting and analyzing UFO reports, and has largely excluded regional military commands, which are responsible for detecting and deterring threats against the United States and developing policies. So, yeah, I mean, it's a national security issue, and that's what they're saying here. We determined that the DoD has no overarching UAP policy, and as a result, it lacks assurance that national security and flight safety threats to the United States from UAP have been identified and mitigated.
Oh la la.
Yeah, and then you have Kirkpatrick going around saying there is no evidence that there's any program. So, I mean, it just shows that our government is not really monolithic.
Right. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing.
Yeah, and, they're
or
probably
maybe that's by design.
Yeah, exactly. They can
keep
blame
everyone out of the loop, and they can just keep blaming each other and all this other stuff.
What is that called? Plausible deniability, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't know that was going on.
Exactly.
No one knows what's going on.
Yeah, you can compartmentalize quite literally.
Yep. And then what they call it too, stovepiping.
Oh boy.
So
Retrievals of the third kind.
So is Michael Schratt? He did an interview yet with Retrievals of the Third Kind. I'm just going to play a little clip here. We've played it before. We love Schratt. He's a great UFO researcher. He's known for basically making stories that's Leonard Stringfield has collected and written about. He puts them into graphics, right, and makes visual.
Right.
So here he's basically saying this is our last chance for disclosure, which is he's probably right.
From what I got from him, all of the rest of that stuff is long gone. Now, what MUFON has is the dictation notes, the office management dictation notes, which is comprised of 65 3-ring binders. I looked through that back in 2013, which is very good material, and they're going to make this available in an upcoming release. But even that doesn't include all the names. It includes quite a few of the names, but not all of them. Those original correspondence letters could have been thrown out 20 years ago. I don't know. And no one else knows either. We can't get a handle on exactly what happened to that original material. But there's enough meat on the bones in Leonard's status reports to go on with what we need to go on. There's enough meat on the bones there. We technically don't need the rest of it. It'd be great to have it. We have enough evidence to pursue this forward. We have the names of many of the people within these crash retrievals. And if they're still alive, they could be tracked down. They could be found. They could be subpoenaed. They would be not hostile witnesses, but friendly, cooperative witnesses. And we could have congressional hearings where these people come forward. They tell us about the retrieval operation. And more importantly, they tell us who their bosses were and where the craft and bodies were sent. And then we can send teams in there legally to get this material. That's the best scenario. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. That was supposed to happen with this UAP disclosure legislation. They got axed. So really, we're flying blind now, and it's up to us now. Since that legislation failed, now it has trickled down to the people to find a way to get to this material. And if we don't do it, all of us are going to die, and another 80 years is going to go by, and we're still not going to know. So honestly, this is the final curtain call on disclosure, period, full stop.
Oh boy.
It's pretty depressing. He's right.
Yeah.
Because these researchers are getting old. And then the ones who actually did it, or the first-hand witnesses are like in their 80s and 90s. They're going to go.
And then we're going to have to rely on frickin' Corbell for the next 50 years.
Oh my God, Corbell. He's Mr. Judo and real estate. Did you see that stream I sent you by alien scientists?
I didn't watch the whole thing, but yes,
dude, it was hilarious. I mean, he's basically he if you're a real estate agent, you can go and your license is public. He went into the registry and he tried looking for Corbell. He couldn't find him.
Oh,
so
boy.
For him, just sitting there, I make all my money from real estate and flipping houses. The guy bought a $2 million mansion. Good for him. Good for him. I'm not saying like don't make money kind of thing, but you made your money off UFOs, dude, and off Bob Lazar and like rehashing his story and then pushing this stuff. So it's not real estate.
Clearly.
So I don't know if you saw this. It is a large.
I've seen it. Sorry, go ahead and read it. I have seen this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. A large black triangle UFO hovers above Niagara Falls in 2009. This case was investigated by OSAP. MIB also showed up more in comments. Here, I can play it.
Yeah. Got to remember this footage was from 2009.
Something's up there, dude. What the fuck? What the fuck is that? Where? Look straight up, dude. Watch the spotlights. I'll tell you when to look. It shines back at you. Pop!
Whoa!
What the fuck is that, homie? Yo, I'm tripping out. No
homie.
Shit, me too. Welcome to the club.
Run out here. Look. Is it like fucking somebody hovering up that it's shining off?
Yeah.
Straight over us.
Yeah, dude.
So ominous.
Yeah, just sitting there.
turning. It's turned since I've been out.
I mean, boy, I wonder what that is.
Yeah, I mean, he's zooming in,
Mm-hmm.
and it shines back. It's basically, it must be metallic, right? So when the spotlight hit it,
Yeah.
Come here for a sec.
Come here for a sec.
He's probably talking to his friend.
Oh.
What?
Like, look where the screen is from my view.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be one of ours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always wondered about the triangle UFOs that are seen. I think if there's something that's secretly human made, and I do remember this part too.
Yes. I was just going to say, I only saw this. I never knew there was a backstory.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's a whole thing. Sorry. This next video is 2 men in black show up to the guy who filmed this. It looks like it's a hotel, and the videos, these 2 men in black walk in to come talk to him, and they're like the traditional. They're dressed like men in black, and they're tall and thin, and they look. I mean, it's not great footage. Again, this is from 2009. Very, very bizarre.
It is very bizarre. So wait, does the guy talk about, or did he shut up because they shut him up?
I'm sure he shut up, or he was replaced.
Yeah. Dude, this whole thing is such a weird, like,
yeah,
right, and just like, nothing about it is normal.
No,
and
it's not.
That's why I can't stand with someone like Kirkpatrick, that we entrusted him, to have. We entrusted him with this position so he can, finally. And he told us about transparency. It's all about transparency. We're trying to be transparent. Like, why didn't he really investigate all this stuff?
Yeah,
it's sad.
It's really sad.
So this is from the Japanese Space Phenomenon Observatory. Apparently, this camera caught 2 Tic Tacs.
Yeehaw!
There they are.
Ooh.
Is that cool footage?
It is. It's not. Wow. Those are clearly birds.
They could be like swans, right?
So.
Yeah, I know.
If swans knew how to dive in a straight line sideways.
Yeah, and they accelerate. So it starts slow, then accelerate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool footage.
Nice footage, huh?
Yeah.
Also, so I don't know if you heard about this. So before we play it, I'll give an overview. Astronomers, I think she's from Harvard, right? Should I say Harvard? Anyway, one of the universities, they went through astronomical plates from observatories, and they were comparing, because they want to see if stars are, how stars are moving, if new stars are being born, or planets, or these things. So they found 3 or 4 plates that showed star-like objects on one plate, and then disappeared within like an hour, or even like years afterwards. And then this is the scientist that found those. And when she gave the dates, people told her, wait a minute, that corresponds with like the DC UFO flap. For example, 50s? In the 50s, exactly. So this is her going through those, and this is on Richard Dolan's show. He interviewed her. It's a great interview, and she goes through the whole process of how they found these plates and they're speculating obviously what they are, but what are they? These things, they thought maybe it might be a mistake in the plates because of nuclear explosions. But yeah, she goes through here in more detail than what I can say.
Perhaps you can tell us as well how you obtained these plates or these images. And then we have a whole other discussion that we're going to need to get into relating to Harvard University and the management of astronomical data there under the lead astronomer of Harvard at the time, Donald Menzel, also very well known in UFO circles. But let's look at these images first, if you can bring those up.
Let's start with showing the first thing that we found. And here you can see, ignore the purple circles because those are scanning defects we could show later. But the green things are, you see, like 9 stars, 2 here and 2 there. And it's in total 9 stars that are there in one image. And you never see it again. And you can say, of course, maybe the second image is not as clear as the first, but we actually compared it also with images 6 days later, 1 hour earlier, sorry, half an hour earlier. And they are never there before and never there after. So they look like they appear and vanish within 1 hour or 50 minutes.
And what is the date of this image?
12th of April, 1950.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started. And we were first wondering, like, is it some kind of plate defects related to this? Let's say you have some contamination from nuclear bomb explosions. But first, why would all 9 of them be so star-like? I mean, you would have maybe some different kind of shapes. Plate defects usually have all kind of shapes, but then if it would be some kind of atomic bomb appears on the plate, then it at least should be listed.
There's a record of all, I think there's a record of nuclear detonations.
And it doesn't match it. So
no, I don't believe so. There's certainly not 3 simultaneously. And are you able to, you probably can't determine like the altitude of these lights or anything like that. They're just images, right?
Yeah, we only have 1 image. So,
but they're in a straight line almost. They look like they're almost in a complete, these ones in the center.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, and that's how we also started thinking about that maybe some of them are falling on a straight line.
They're falling down.
And that would be one way of testing if that could be some kind of moving objects in orbit. And let me show you what we found, actually.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of questions. I want to ask, what are the conventional explanations that you and your team and your colleagues were able to come up with? But let's show us what you want. But I do want to return to that question.
So we can start there. Actually, the conventional explanation that we were thinking about was, again, maybe it's some type of plate defects with some extremely coincidentally star-like profiles. So for whatever reason, all of 9 of them would look precisely like stars rather than having different shapes. So that's one of the possibilities. And the second is really this atomic bomb test we have been wondering about. If it could be some unlisted atomic bomb test that left some recipients.
Forgive me for asking, but the 3 in a line that were there and then
on that note, since they're speculating, I mean, I'm going to speculate. If it was like an off the books like atomic test, right? Mm-hmm. Then maybe that's what prompted then the UFO flap in DC, because it was that day, same day that happened.
Very well could be. I mean, as we've proven time and time again, these UFOs, UAPs are super attracted to nuclear
right
facilities, nuclear bombs, nuclear tests, everything.
Right. What are they doing down there? Let's go check it out.
Yeah.
So that's obvious why you circled those. But the other objects that were circled that did not disappear, why were they circled? Are they not known astronomical? Are they not known stars, or what?
Oh, you mean the ones that were purple?
Yeah.
Because there were scanning defects. If you use 2 different scans,
I'm so sorry.
Scans, and from 2 different groups, like I was using Super Cosmos scans and DSS scans, you could see that this was something that appeared because who was scanning them used a dirty plate. And that has a wrong date in the table because of this. But this one is from the 27th of July. The probability to get such an alignment by chance is 1 in 10,000. And it was
in perfect alignment again.
And this is like 1 in 10,000. And this is one of the candidates for something artificial that we posted in the archive paper that never was published. It was the best candidate, actually.
And the date for this one is what?
27th of July, 1952.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it until 1 year later. So
July 27, 1952. And so on the left one here.
So I think that's the UFO flap, right? Sorry. So it was
that's
July,
the one that was over the White House. Yeah, 1952.
Okay.
There. Very interesting. And oh, yes, 2 at the bottom. It's quite symmetrical.
Yeah, it's very weird.
You've got a single anomalous object in the center, and it looks pretty close to equidistant, doesn't it?
It does.
It looks like, I mean, whether by design or coincidence, it looks like a genuine pattern here. 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. The ones on the top are much brighter, but they are.
No
in
evidence.
fact, they're
Topher.
almost
No evidence.
Mirror images
Absolutely
of
none.
each
Well, they
other.
didn't.
And
She
it
didn't tell
makes
this
me
to
wonder,
Arrow,
could this
so
be some kind of
Yeah. And she's not like a ufologist or anything. She is an astronomer working in Harvard.
yeah.
You know,
So
that,
she
that
clearly
found
has.
these.
She clearly has no idea what she's doing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy to see in the 50s, and that it correlates with that. Here's another one. This is 6. Oh, I can't see this one. The 1952 one.
So in other cases, they're spread over a big field. But here, when they're very close to each other, maybe you could in some way explain it with a gravitational lensing. Although when we tried to look at it, we were kind of, it would need a black hole that is 10 times the mass of the Milky Way black hole. Kind of.
Did you say 10 times the mass of the Milky Way?
Yeah. I mean, the point she's making is stars don't just disappear that quickly.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, there is some, we haven't really managed to explain it with gravitational lensing yet, but we have tried to think about, let's say, you have some very short astronomical transient in the background that gets lensed by this massive lens. So suddenly appears several images of the same thing and then they vanish. So we have been thinking about that as a conventional explanation, but I'm not sure if it works. And otherwise, it could, of course, also be related to the previous phenomena that we have seen before, that it's all the same type of thing. Just here it's in a small image, like spread in a small region, and there it is spread in larger.
I mean,
And
you know,
that is from the
I don't think we're gonna have. I mean, unless we start testing nukes again, I don't think we're gonna have sightings like we used to have. You know, it seems, and you just mentioned this, that's what triggers them. You know, when we're playing with nukes, when we're exploding nukes, when we're messing with this planet, is when they show up. And since we're not doing that anymore, we're not getting the same type of sightings. I'm not saying we don't get sightings. It's just not like that dramatic, flying over DC,
Yeah.
crashing in Arizona, crashing in New Mexico, these things.
Right.
And that's why these are always in the 50s, 60s. When did we stop? I think we stopped in the 60s, right? JFK?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I'd be hard pressed to believe if we truly did stop. We just found different ways to.
Underground.
Yeah. Just different ways. Okay, so I sent this to you. So I was watching this weekend. I was watching the new season of True Detective. It takes place up in Alaska near the Northern Circle, and I was reading through the comments.
Oh, the new one. I want to start that. Is it good?
It's pretty good.
Is it as good as the first two?
No. Nothing is. Nothing. There. I'm still convinced there's no TV show on the planet that will ever be better than True Detective season 1.
The first one, it's fantastic.
But anyway,
Yeah.
Everyone's heard of Dyatlov Pass, where in Russia those hikers were found. They had gone up into the mountains, and they were found like weeks later. They had been naked. They had been. It looked like they had been attacked. Like their eyeballs had been. So one of the guys' eyeballs had been taken out.
What? I know they were bleeding. I didn't know his eyeballs were taken out.
Yeah, the theory is that some wild animal got to him. It's just, but it's weird because of how far up the mountain they were. Anyway, something similar happens in the show, which is why this came up. So this incident is called the Kamar Daban. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that incident. Also in Russia, Siberia, I believe.
Siberia,
and it's just another weird case where the hikers are found in a very strange sort. Let's.
Yeah.
So
here the hikers. So it was in 1993.
I think so. 7 hikers were trekking near Lake Baikal in Siberia when they were suddenly overcome with horrific symptoms. Blood streamed from their eyes and noses. They clutched at their throats and bashed their heads against rock.
What?
And these are the same kind of things that they found with the Dyatlov Pass hikers. They were just the way that they died was just so bizarre. It's it's never really been solved, because how do you solve that? it's very, very bizarre.
So they planned a hike to Kamar Daban mountain range. All right. They were young, 23 years old, 15, 16, 17, 24, 19. Yeah.
You skipped the most important sentence. Right,
Oh.
stop. Being familiar with the area, which was a popular tourist spot and regarded as a safe hiking destination.
Okay.
And
right, so they weren't trekking in any weird areas.
Right.
So what happened? It's a Rumble video.
It's same thing. They go missing. Search team comes out and finds them. They're all in various stages of very bizarre deaths.
You want me to play the video?
I don't think we don't have. It's too long. It's a full documentary, I believe.
The 7 were excited to commence. Okay, the first 2 days of the hike proceeded more smoothly than expected, with the group pushing themselves to cimb. Okay, the summit.
The summit, the retranslation.
Yeah, I'm not gonna even try that. Retranslator. Wait, why is it called the retranslator?
That's some weird Russian translation.
Translator.
Yeah.
Do the added weight. Okay, so they slowed down. The group was unable to start a fire, but they remained in high spirit. Why? Is it too high up?
Don't know.
Huh.
Maybe. Well, I'm assuming it looks like it was raining or something, because that's what the added dampness of their supplies. Skimming through this.
August 10th, a group of kayakers who were paddling down the river at the base of Kamar Daban Mountains noticed something in the tree line. A lone girl was standing there staring at them. When I guess it got goosebumps. When the kayakers approached the girl, they realized she was covered in dried blood. As they approached her, she broke down in tears and attempted to tell them her story.
She'd been hiking with a group of 6 other people. So one of the students, this girl supposedly is.
Yeah.
Kayakers took her to the local police station, filed a report, several days for her to recount the events of what happened. It was a confusing and horrifying tale. According to the girl, after the group had breakfast, they began their descent down the mountain, but a calamity struck shortly after. One of the students at the back of the group began screaming. When everyone turned to look at him, he was foaming at the mouth and bleeding from his eyes and ears. He fell to the ground, convulsing before becoming still. The instructor ran to his aid and told the rest of the students to go on and find help.
Wow,
but
man.
The teacher started to experience the same symptoms as the guy who was bleeding from his eyes and nose and foaming at the mouth. And once the rest of the students heard the teacher screaming, they turned back and tried to help the teacher. Yeah. Grabbing at her throat as she was struggling to breathe. This is the teacher.
Yeah.
She made her way to a nearby rock and struck her head against it repeatedly until she lost consciousness.
What? Could you imagine doing that? It's like being possessed.
Right. And so the students all kind of looks like they panicked. One of them took cover behind a rock. 2 of them ran away. And the girl that was found said she was left motionless after witnessing her 3 closest friends die in a matter of minutes.
Wow.
The 2 that ran away collapsed and died similar, and they were tearing at their clothes, coughing up blood, clawing at their throats. One hiding behind a rock collapsed as well.
What are they hiding? Like why are they hiding behind a rock?
Don't know.
Rocks. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where you panic. You see that imagine, you're a student. One of your fellow students starts bleeding from the eyes and nose, foaming at the mouth, screaming, trying to tear off their clothes, can't breathe. Your teacher goes to help, experiences the exact same thing. I mean, I would assume there was some sort of like zombie virus or something. I'd be panicking too. I don't know what I would do.
But there must be some force too. Like if they're hiding behind, rocks.
But this is the same thing. This is the same thing with the Dialtov Pass incident, where they all ran in different directions and were like naked and were freaking out. It's the same kind of thing.
The autopsy report revealed that all of the hikers, except for the
teacher,
yes, the teacher, who suffered a heart attack, died from hypothermia.
They're found to have bruised lungs, but it was determined that the cause of death was a protein deficiency resulting from starvation and extreme hypothermia. It was concluded that their deaths were accidental. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
No, doesn't make.
What could
any
have caused
sense.
the incident of the Kamar Daban chemical weapons? I think is a
I was
really.
thinking that. I was thinking that too. Yeah.
I'm thinking that's there's probably some Soviet testing going on,
Yeah.
and they walked right in the middle of it without knowing. That's why
Especially Siberia.
it was called. That's why it was called hypothermia and all this other stuff. Death by
maybe
nerve
just
gas. Yeah, I could totally see that.
toxic mushrooms.
I don't think that's a dumb one. I don't. I was reading through this earlier. I don't think toxic mushrooms is a thing. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities between this and the Altiv
A
Pass.
lot. Yeah. So wait, it's okay, so it's not the same region, but they're both in Russia.
I think it is.
Is it?
I think they're both Siberia. I think that's as close as a region as we're gonna get. Someone can look it up.
Weird, man. That is so weird.
Yeah, see, I mean, we don't even know the Delta Passage. I mean, they're listing avalanche, infrasound, military involvement, even extraterrestrial activity as possible causes of their death. I mean, case remains unsolved. Yeah. Anyway,
Do we know like has anyone looked into their history, like what type of people they were? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm sure they have.
Yeah. And because that's what I would do. I'll try to see like these two groups, what makes them similar. The people, I mean, themselves, what makes them similar? Because it kind of looks like they're targeted.
Well, see, the second group, it was a teacher and her students. The first group, they were like professional hikers. That was the weird thing. That was, but also that was in 1959, the Altiv Pass. I think it was 1959. This one was 1993. So there's a pretty significant time gap in there.
Yeah, I'd like to look into this more. And
yeah, this was
some patterns.
One of the better articles I could find. There's not a whole lot of info on this incident.
Magical mushrooms. Yeah, that's gonna kill them, sure, dude.
Yeah, it'll make you bleed from your eyes and mouth, and makes it spread to everybody else.
It's non-toxic. Don't fearmonger the cubes.
Thanks, Bob Dobbs. Anyway, I thought that was a fun read, and it. Go ahead and check out the newest season of True Detective. I think episode 3 is up tonight, so it's still getting going.
Sweet. All right. Yeah.
And you'll see why this incident came up when you're watching the first or second episode.
Okay, well, I mean, I saw. I'm like, oh, nice, Jodie Foster. She hasn't been around in a long time, so I feel like True Detective is like, they like to bring back old, movie stars or producers. Or actors, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, it was the beginning of Matthew McConaughey's the McConaissance, whatever they called it, because he was doing all those, like he was just kind of like almost like a B-list act. Like he was obviously an A-list actor, but he was doing like B movies for a long time. Yeah. And then that was like his big break into like, okay, I'm a serious actor now.
Well, everyone uses the memes from that.
Oh,
smoking. He smokes so much.
Yeah. That's the other thing about this season of True Detective is it brings back a lot of stuff from season 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
You'll see.
So, all right. So it was a great ring that was discovered in the universe. The Great Ring, as it is called, is a nearly perfect circle of galaxies and galaxy clusters that spans approximately 1.3 billion light years in diameter, making it larger than any known structure. The Great Ring covers about 3% of the observable universe and may be part of an even larger structure. When visible to the naked eye, it would appear to be the size of 15 full moons.
Whew.
Yeah. So now, a modern science can't explain how this happens. The Great Ring is not only larger than these structures, but larger than any other structure discovered to date. This challenges the cosmological principle, which states that the universe should appear uniform in all directions and all observers within it. While there may be random variations in the distribution of stars and galaxies, at the largest scale, they should merge into a homogeneous system. So this structure is 1.2 billion light years.
Yeah, that's impossible to fathom.
I mean, this is not the true image. This is, obviously
artist recreation.
Right. But see, like this ring here are all galaxies.
Yeah.
And then this thing in the middle. Insane,
I mean, it's pretty nuts how big our universe is. It's
hard.
It's hard to even fathom, really.
It is impossible to fathom.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought? I mean, so imagine like our Milky Way entire galaxy is in here, which has 100 billion stars, and we're
a
like,
tiny little dot in this picture.
Yeah, right, exactly, and it's just amazing. And imagine that is a civilization. That's a multi-galactic civilization.
There's some really good videos on YouTube that kind of talk about this concept and like what a type 1 civilization is, a type 0 civilization. When you get up to like type 5, type 6, or type 7, and it looks like that when you can move entire galaxies and use them to power your civilization. You know, because we're not even a type 1 yet because we haven't harnessed the power of our star fully.
And we're still warlike. You know, we just
but it doesn't have when you're talking about type civilization, it has to do with energy. It doesn't have to do with like
gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
it doesn't have to do with like what kind of people we are in terms of civilization.
Right.
It's just what kind of energy we harness.
Yeah, so if you're using the sun, that's type 2, right?
I think it's type 1 because we're not even
that's type 1.
I think we're technically like a 0.6 civilization or something. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but it's interesting stuff to look at because when you start getting way up there, you see that these civilizations, if they're able to harness entire galaxies, it's just insane the amount of power you would have.
Yeah, and could you imagine this one like harnessing multiple galaxies?
Right.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Unfathomable. It is crazy. I mean, space is I don't know, it just reminds me of Portal 2. There's that one character at the end that's obsessed with space. Space. We're in space. I'm in space. So Pasulka, Diana Pasulka, author of American Cosmic and now Encounters. She was on Joe Rogan. He does not look like that anymore.
No, he does not. Actually, I saw a funny picture of him, and someone commented like he's slowly morphing into Danny DeVito, and I was like, "Holy man, that is dead accurate. That is dead accurate."
That's hilarious. That's so accurate. Okay, and we'll see in this clip. So, but she's talking in this clip. She's talking about harassment for researching this subject, and we have Kirkpatrick and NASA complaining that we harass them.
Right.
But we know who gets harassed. People that want to get this subject, this information out. People that want disclosure. That's the real harassment.
Mm-hmm.
Government doesn't get harassed, oh wow, because they get tagged in social media posts.
Right. I know. It's pathetic.
It is pathetic. All right, so
what I found was that there were several different factions within the perception management of UFOs. And one of the factions was responsible for sadly harassing people who do research. And I found this out by being harassed.
How so? How were you harassed?
Okay, so, here I am, just your average professor doing their work and doing it pretty well. And then I start to study UFOs thinking that they're not real, thinking that it's just a new form of religion. And then quickly having people come into my research sphere who are, part of CIA, part of FBI, that kind of thing. And then getting a shock that, whoa, this could be dangerous and maybe I shouldn't be doing this. But I did get harassed, though. I did get harassed, and it still happens.
Oh, how'd you get harassed?
Most of it is doxing and email harassment at my university began, and both to me and Gary at the same time, and people showing up.
People?
Yeah, people in my town showing up.
Like what kind of people? Schizophrenics?
No, but
no,
but people you wouldn't want to meet. Yeah,
loons.
Yeah,
yeah. Do you think that's targeted? Do you think that's
it's for sure.
But do you think that also that might just be people that are obsessed with this particular subject?
These are people that are affiliated with people in those
okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt.
That was Skyfire News. They just started their Twitter, but they're taking off. They do great clips on X.
It is scary to think, and this is one of the reasons why we're not using our real names, that your life can just get ruined just by talking about this kind of stuff or researching it.
Exactly why. Yeah. It's exactly why we don't use our names and why I'm always behind VPNs and I use fake email. And it doesn't mean they can't find out. I mean, they can if they really want to. Yeah. I mean, it just takes resources and they have other, things to focus on.
Bigger fish to fry. Wait until we get 1 million viewers or listeners, then we'll be the big fish to fry.
Oh yeah, the anti-government conspiracy theorists.
Always.
So I found I pretty much know this is a joke, but I thought it's cool. It's a billionaire bunker commercial.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so it's really well made. You'll enjoy this.
In a world where uncertainty looms, one mustn't merely survive, one must thrive. Presenting the Billionaire's Bunker, your fortress of opulence and ultimate sanctuary in the face of any apocalyptic storm. Security isn't just a feature, it's a lifestyle. Our entrance is fortified with biometric scanners, laser security, and a retinal recognition system, because when the end of the world knocks, only the chosen few enter. Step inside, where luxury meets fortification. The walls aren't just walls, they're a blend of reinforced concrete and cutting-edge technology. Your refuge is a masterpiece, designed to withstand anything. Our living rooms boast bulletproof windows with panoramic views of the chaos, because you deserve to witness the end in style. The furniture, self-repairing, because who has time for a handyman during an apocalypse? The kitchen is stocked with gourmet, long-lasting delicacies that defy the decay of time. Our chefs are prepared to create culinary masterpieces, even when the world outside crumbles. Rest easy in a bedroom. It's not just a haven of comfort, but also equipped with a discreet escape route. Because in the face of calamity, a secret passage is worth its weight in gold. Need a break from impending doom? Our entertainment complex includes a panic room that makes you forget the world outside.
Oh my God.
Enjoy movies, virtual reality, and even a simulated sky with the push of a button. Survival isn't enough. It's about surviving with style, the ultimate shelter for the elite, the Billionaire's Bunker, where extravagance meets resilience. Because when the world crumbles, your legacy doesn't have to.
All right, two things. This whole video is essentially my wet dream, except for like having other people there. I think I honestly think that like that concrete style that really does it for me for some reason. It's so.
Ooh, me too. Me too. I'm not kidding.
The second thing is I think this is what Zuckerberg is building.
Right. Yeah. Well, he did it underground.
Well, yeah, but I was dying at the panoramic views of the chaos outside.
Yeah. Exactly.
Behind bulletproof windows.
Because it is how they think. They think they can just watch the apocalypse happen.
They currently are. What are you talking about? They're not affected by the economy and shit.
No, they're not. You're right. I remember in 2008 when that happened, there was a huge influx of bunkers and all these CEOs leaving to islands, right? And the same thing happened in 2020 again when COVID hit. They all of a sudden they resigned and then left, right? Like even Iger from Disney, and then he returned after COVID.
Once everything, it's not so bad. Okay, I guess I'm back. Now this is. Go ahead, read it.
Yeah, so Nokia is selected by DARPA to design communications services infrastructure framework for future lunar economy.
Now, this actually gives me some hope because if you remember the first cell phones that were coming out were Nokias, and those things could not be broken. Those things were bricks.
Dumb phones.
Oh, man. They were great.
There's a movement for that, too.
And like now, if you look at your iPhone too long, the screen cracks. But those things, you could throw them you could throw them in front of a moving semi truck and it wouldn't come out with a scratch. It'd be fine.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. So, I mean, it's cool that now, Nokia, obviously, their phones is not a big business anymore, but they're still doing mobile infrastructure and high-speed wireless infrastructure. So DARPA chose them for the moon. So
pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. I mean, from a company that Apple beat, I think this is kind of an own, like saying, all right, well, we're on the moon and you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's pretty cool that they're going to be doing that. Although, I'm not. I mean, the reason why I'm iffy about it is I know like cell phones and cell towers can disrupt nature. This even disrupt our natural processes. Whether it's our mind or biologically. It's a great book. Now I'm forgetting what it's called. I think something the rainbow. And it's funny, the author of it, because what this author does, he's a scientist, and he links pandemics and diseases to every time that we upgrade, that humanity upgrades. Like when we had the telegraph, and we started having those wires, right? The telegraph wires on railroads. He said there was a huge uptick in like cases of people getting sick. When we added radio, people got getting sick. 4G, 5G, blah blah blah, whatever it is.
It's super interesting because I don't, like I know technically they're considered safe, but I don't think we could truly understand the nature of like what a radio wave does to brainwaves, because we can't really like measure brainwaves properly. We can see that the brain has activity, but you can't like capture the wave of a brain and say, okay, that's what this wave is doing. That's what I don't think so anyway. Maybe I'm way off about that.
Yeah.
But like
wirelessly, no, probably not.
Yeah, like the interference between those things would happen like on almost like a quantum level, something we couldn't truly understand.
Yeah, and there are people who are very sensitive to radio waves, and they have to move away from towers. Like it's a real thing. It's not a huge part of the population, but it drives them insane.
Well, and there's just like this. We have done studies on those high pitched frequencies that you can't technically hear, but it still affects you.
Yeah.
And so like if you're one of those people that's super sensitive to that and it's making you sick, people just think you're crazy anti-technology person, but it's really just that high-pitched frequency that's mucking around with your inner ear and making you sick.
That's probably exactly what it is. Yeah, they hear it that you don't. They're just susceptible to it. They have the ability to hear these frequencies that you don't. So I mean, don't judge people.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to technology. And now this shocked me. I don't know why Disney just reinvented the VR treadmill.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought they were making rides, but now they're doing stuff like this. So
we're getting closer and closer to Ready Player One, man.
Yes. Always allow. Oh no, not that one. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, look at this. It looks really cool.
I can walk on this omnidirectional floor
Whoa.
in any direction I want. It will automatically do whatever it needs to have me stay on the floor. And what's amazing about this is multiple people can be on it and all walking independently. They can walk in virtual reality and so many other things.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Isn't it? I mean, it makes it good for the plebes too, right? To play VR because you don't need a big house anymore.
That way you don't run to. Oh man, there was a period of like a year where I was like, I'd get home from work and I would just play Beat Saber for an hour, because it's great. It's a great workout and you don't have to move so much. But I did always end up punching my wall because I don't have a whole lot of room in my bedroom to do it.
Same here. If I have to do that, I have to go like in the middle of the apartment where the foundation structure is, so my neighbors don't go crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I thought that's pretty cool that Disney's now trying to
get
into VR.
It's pretty interesting. I mean, VR is I mean, I'm sure you saw the announcement for the Apple, whatever those goggle things are called.
Yeah, so they're getting into it too.
Yeah, the VR and AI are coming up together, and they're going to be intertwined here really, really soon if they're not already.
Well, PlayStation is not happy with their numbers because it's like buying another PlayStation. The price is insane.
Yeah.
But they only sold 300,000, which I think is a lot, especially at that price point.
Dude, yeah, no, VR is cool. I think I told you I've got the Oculus 2, like from a few years back, and it's fun, but like it's still, you can tell it's just not quite there yet.
Right. Yeah, and especially if you do. Like the PlayStation VR, I would say is probably 100 times better than Oculus. The graphics.
I'm sure. Yeah, I was gonna say because the graphics on the Oculus are not fantastic. It's all really simple stuff.
Yeah, and speaking of VR, So there's a robot avatar lets people see and feel things remotely through VR.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's how these
This
the
is
craze. Yeah.
Go scroll back up. I want to read that. A person wearing a VR headset and haptic feedback gloves can control the iCub 3 robot and experience being somewhere else. Once again, this is what's it called? This is Ready Player One with the haptic feedback and stuff. Very, very, very cool stuff. So you put on some gloves, and you can feel the gloves like, I don't know how it works. Whatever haptic feedback entails, it makes it so when you touch something, the gloves like give you feedback, so it feels like you're touching whatever it is the robot's touching.
That's amazing.
That's really cool stuff.
Hundreds of kilometers away. So basically we could experience other planets,
right,
and star systems with this. And it might be what aliens, quote unquote aliens are.
Yeah,
they're robots.
Very viable thing.
Yeah,
I mean, they're billions of light years away. They send the little gray robots here, and they just not live through them, but they control them.
That makes
especially with quantum entanglement and stuff like that. There's no delay.
There you go. Exactly. It's instantaneous when you figure out quantum communications. That is, I'm not going to say it's above or beyond our physical reality, but yeah, quantum entanglement has nothing to do with light. It's instantaneous.
Yeah.
Even if you're a galaxy
no
away.
No matter the distance, it's like you're right there.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. Again, there's no proof that the government and the corporations are
reverse engineering anything.
Yeah. There's no proof at all. I shared this with you. What'd you think about it? Did you see it? Morpheus?
It looks familiar, but I can't remember.
So it's lucid dreaming.
Oh, that's right. You did. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a band that you put on your head, and it uses ultrasonic waves. So when you sleep and it knows you're in REM, it induces you
lucid dreams.
Yes, to lucid dreams. So not really wake you up, but like tell you, hey,
you're in a dream.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like this so much. This kind of creeps me out, to be honest.
Does it?
Yeah. I mean, I have trouble sleeping already, and I already have pretty wild dreams. I don't want to mess with it further.
Do you have vivid dreams all the time?
All the time. In fact, I had a really interesting one last night where I had signed up to play in a amateur hockey tournament. I don't.
No shit.
And I was like,
"Do you even play hockey?"
And we were, for some reason, we were matched up against a practice squad for the NHL, and there was just these huge guys, and I was like, I can barely stand on these skates.
What?
And I was like terrified I was going to get just absolutely crushed. Yeah, it was a weird dream.
No,
and then I took an Uber home, and the Uber flooded. So explain that one.
No shit. I mean, I've had dreams, that predict the future. I have vivid dreams a lot, and I think, especially if I'm sober, it's always vivid dreams and always very strange ones. And I think that's why or before in the past, I would, every day I wouldn't be sober before going to sleep because of that, because I don't want to have those. But I know what you're talking about. Like, it's just, so yeah, but wouldn't this then help us control those things? Because
I suppose my worry is that you'd somehow end up stuck in a really bad dream, and that's kind of where it's almost like if you're doing drugs and you have a bad trip or something, you know what I mean, and you're just kind of stuck with it until it ends.
I wonder if there must be a fail-safe thing in here that wakes you up if it's a nightmare. I mean, you're right. If it doesn't have a fail-safe, get me the hell out of here, then I'm not going to try it either.
Because that's the thing. So I used to practice lucid dreaming when I was in college, and the reason I stopped is because something would happen in my dream that I couldn't control, and it would morph and turn into, it's because my subconscious is so messed up. So I'd be flying around or something, and then a giant bird would start attacking me, and you can't stop it. And then it's just like, well, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this to myself?
Interesting.
Because some thought, that's why I compare it to a bad trip. Some bad thought gets stuck in your head, and then it just kind of takes over.
It morphs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a movie. What?
I was just gonna say this. It's like that's probably why this freaks me out so much, is because this does remind me of like a sci-fi movie.
Yeah. What was that where you're stuck in that nightmare?
I feel like it's many of them, but yeah.
Anyway, it's not launched yet. They're launching soon. They want beta testers, but it's built on 11 million data set of brain scans of different situations. So it's like Total Recall in a way, because
Yeah,
you
a
can
little
tell,
bit.
like, I want this type of situation. So what the ultrasound does, or wait, not ultrasound, what's it called? Ultrasonic transformer, it mimics the brain image of someone doing a certain situation, but then sends that to you, right, in a vivid dream,
Mhm.
and then you experience that. That at least that's what I understood what it does.
It's like Inception almost. Like, you know how
Yeah.
where they're going in other people's minds, but other people's minds have
That's-
defenses.
Mhm.
Like, imagine if the defenses were in your own mind, which is like the problem I was having.
Yeah. So so you nailed it. That's what I meant. Like, oh, what's that movie? That's the movie.
Yeah.
Because he had a problem with his subconscious, right? And she kept
Right.
showing up, and yeah.
Exactly. That's the kind of thing that would definitely happen to me.
But yeah, so I wonder if that bando would help with fixing that in a way, only if it has a failsafe. I mean, if there's a way.
I'll revisit it in like 10 years once they've worked out all the kinks.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I've been following this scientist for a while. He's the creator of quantized inertia. He created an engine. Now, I still don't get it. Okay, don't think I understand this.
I'm trying to look at this. I don't even understand the words in the title of the article.
So DARPA invested in this like 10 years ago, and now it's up in space. SpaceX put it up there, and there's a drive trying to prove this right. And it looks like it's working. And it uses quantum theory, and it's called quantized inertia. So, all right. So according to standard physics, we cannot travel to the stars in a human lifetime because we need impractical amounts of fuel to get close to light speed. However, a new theory of inertia has been proposed called quantized inertia. It predicts standard inertia as a vacuum effect at normal accelerations. It also predicts a drop in inertia at low accelerations that predicts disk galaxy rotation without dark matter. Therefore, it has solid empirical backing. So this theory does away with dark matter, dark energy, all that stuff. But they're testing it, and it doesn't need fuel. It uses the vacuum and quantum mechanics to.
Wow.
It's phenomenal. So it's being tested in space now. So he got DARPA $1.3 million, and now in 2023 they're getting good results from a capacitor with a dielectric between plates with 8-micron separation. McCulloch, and that's the inventor, uses aluminum plates, and Captain dielectric, but Ivo whatever uses solid dielectric. This is the company that launched it in space.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
So really cool. I mean, again, I'm not going to pretend I know the science. I do not. But I think this is still a great. There he is. We follow each other, by the way. He follows us. We follow him.
Nice.
He's a cool guy, McCulloch. He doesn't want the U.S. to go down. He loves this country. He hates what's happening like with the border and Biden, all that stuff. He's a cool dude. He's a very cool dude. And a genius. I told him, like, they're probably going to erect statues of you. And he goes, what, the statues that get removed?
At least he's got a sense of humor about it.
He does. I tagged him once. I forget what it was about Einstein. Oh, never mind. I don't remember it. So, but yeah, I mean, the physics they use is obviously not our type of physics. There's no dark matter, no dark energy.
Right.
I think it's mostly electric and quantum.
So they're really cool. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that 100 years from now is going to lead to like deep space travel.
Yeah, and it's exactly. And we don't need fuel. They're using the universe to fuel the engines.
That's pretty insane stuff.
Yeah. And when they say, oh, we don't know how these crafts work, it's stuff like this. So travel to Proxima in 12 years. Proxima Centauri B. 12 years.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Quantized inertia. Again, I have no idea, but our craft's gonna make it there using this engine. So yeah, we'll leave everything in the notes. Brian Wang, this is his website. Next big future, so he's explaining it as
And when
much
you
as
look
he can.
when you look up this article, go ahead and good luck understanding it.
Yeah.
And if you do reach out to us and let us know what's really going on,
please give us a summary.
Yeah.
So moving on, this is a clip about the whole
I'm so
Gaza
sorry, you Amazon packages.
and Houthis. You know what's happening with the Houthis now and the Red Sea. Now we like to stay clear of this subject, like the plague, because it is the plague.
Yep.
But man, it's getting so bad. Like it's atrocious. Like
it's really
you can't
really
not
hard.
speak up. I
Exactly.
mean, enough, right?
Exactly.
Over 100 days, babies, women,
hospitals, and
blown up.
The newest bombing was the third oldest church in the world was blown up.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. I mean, the ICJ came in. They weren't too stern or anything, but I mean, they still sided against them. Like they told them, stop it, or we're gonna have to interfere because it will be genocide if you don't stop.
But they deserve it.
Yeah, they deserve. Yeah, if they're doing it, then it's for a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
So this is only a minute, but this is on the BBC, which you haven't. People like this were never given a mic or time,
of course,
to give their opinion. So here, it's a minute. It's great to hear more of this, please.
I'm so sorry your Amazon packages are delayed. I really am. Like, I wish mine came on time. Hundreds of billions of dollars has been put at risk because the Houthis have held this area in the Red Sea at ransom. Sorry, so just let me get this straight, Yalda. So we are bombing one of the poorest countries in the world that has been under a humanitarian blockade. There has been famine. These people have been decimated, and we are bombing them because a couple of guys in dinghies in support for the Palestinians who are having a genocide committed against them. They're objecting to that, and we're bombing them. Come on now. I mean, this is just an insane world for us to even think. I'm so sorry your Amazon packages are delayed. I really am. Like, I wish mine came on time. But, genocide, guys, genocide. There are 2 mothers a day dying in Gaza right now. It's 109 days into a conflict in which a humanitarian crisis has been declared to the world day in, day out.
By the way, Dr.
I know. Well, there's some comedy though. So this guy put he put a compilation together of Freudian slips, the ones covering up for the Zionists. Yes. So here's Trudeau. He looks like crap.
Yeah, he does.
Doesn't he? Wow, he looks old. So let's hear him. What does he have to say?
To see a cease. We need to see a humanitarian pause so we can flow.
Whoops.
Ceasing of the violence.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah. Right to genocide.
I'm also upset that since October the 7th, the focus at the moment is on the other side. People are trying to suggest that there is some sort of moral equivalence. There is no moral equivalence. We are not the victims.
Oh, no.
Sorry, we are the victims. We are not the aggressor. Sorry.
But I can tell you that we are not targeting anyone else in Gaza but civilians. Hamas is cynically, but rather terrorists, of course.
And I would like to use the rest of my time to say how appalled I am that people are bringing up the Holocaust. Do not use other genocides to describe this one. I have been...
Yeah, you can tell what's on their minds.
Yeah, exactly. They know they're wrong.
They believe they have the right to be this. Just, you know what? We got to move on because we're gonna get.
All right, fine. Okay, I did want to show you this. So I think yesterday, or Friday, I was thinking about the 4chan leak. right?
Mhm.
But because I was using ChatGPT and Dolly, I'm like, I should create some images,
Yeah, hell yeah.
based on that. So here's the underground, AI creating these crafts and the beings, and look what it did. It put all these.
That's pretty cool, man.
Isn't
AI
that
is getting
cool?
great, yeah.
Yeah,
Creepy
and
stuff
then,
though.
but I said, if did it create the sun, moon, earth system? But here's it being worshipped. I put that in there.
Uh-huh. That looks really familiar.
Yeah, doesn't it? I didn't. All I said was depict it being worshipped, and they put a cube.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. And then here's whoever trying to put the moon in place with the Earth, and then creating the Earth Moon system.
I like that one. That's cool. I like that picture a lot.
Yeah.
That's like that looks like something like a Renaissance painting that's been updated for the modern day. Doesn't it?
Yeah. Did you watch Ender's Game?
No, I know what it is, but I know it's a YA book.
Yeah.
And I've never read it, and I've never seen the movie.
The movie's good. Too bad they didn't, because it wasn't successful. They didn't make it. It was supposed to be a trilogy,
right?
But I really liked the movie. I thought it was well done.
Yeah, unfortunately, like right now, sci-fi has this huge not resurgence, but it's got this big, a lot of big sci-fi projects are coming out, and I feel like Ender's Game that came out right before sci-fi was hitting like its current peak right now. It just was bad timing because I've actually heard it's a good. I've heard it's a good movie.
It is. My daughter, she teared when I made her watch it like a couple years ago. Yeah. It is pretty hectic. It's a hectic movie, but the concept is amazing, and so it reminded me of that because the powers that humans have in that movie with technology are just something else.
Cool.
Yeah,
love that. Love to see more humanitarian movies like that where humans are not all just evil.
Let's do Topher's corner. Anything?
Oh boy, I kind of came unprepared. I'm trying to think. Oh, did we talk about No One Will Save You? Did we talk about that one yet?
We did, and I could not watch it because it's only on Hulu, and I'm not going to just subscribe on Hulu just for that. So I tried to do it on Prime. Yeah, no, I don't have Hulu. I have Prime, I have Apple, and Max, HBO Max.
That's too bad. Yeah, because I know you'd get a kick out of that one.
Only Hulu, which is crazy. Usually they would release on Apple also, to pay for. I mean, and Prime, but it's not on any of them.
What a shame. There was I know True Detective was the one I brought up. Don't let your daughter watch that one.
No, of course not. It's my wife.
Yeah, I swore there was one other movie that I was going to recommend, but now I can't think of it. But the first one was, yeah,
it's genetic.
It is genetic. It's always how it goes. I'm scrolling through my previously watched movies to see if there's anything that sticks out.
Oh, well, I got that book. So Magic Eyes Only. It's been
reprinted. You sent that to me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been reprinted. He added some stuff to it. We've talked about it before, and it used to be like $200 if you want to buy that book. So I didn't before. So now now it's modestly priced. I bought it. I started reading it. Just amazing. When you read through these things, and then Kirkpatrick comes up and starts spewing his lies and his propaganda. It's just so infuriating. And then him, complaining that he's getting harassed, just even adds to it. It's exactly just like Fauci.
Yeah, there's a funny saying about you're crying out in pain as you reach out and hit somebody.
Oh yes, they cry in pain as they hit you.
Yeah, I don't even know if we're allowed to say that.
No, we said it in a different way. We should be fine.
Okay, all right, good.
I mean, Twitter. Yeah, I mean, Musk goes over to he went to Germany with his handler there, Mr. Shapiro.
Nice.
He comes back and everyone's suspended.
Yeah. What a wonderful world.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Actually, still free in a way.
You know what? For my corner, actually, what I want to do is I want to get recommendations from the audience. So we were talking about that. We were talking about that that weird drive that he was saying. It takes you 12 years to get to another.
Yeah,
solar system. I want to know a movie or a TV show where, because that concept is bizarre to me, because okay, we're here on Earth, and then 12 light years away there's another group of humans, let's say. There, and unless we've got some sort of quantum communication or quantum teleportation, there's no way you can have the same society, you know what I mean? Because they're 12 light years away. So if you need to send something over there, it's not going to happen in your lifetime. You know what I'm trying to say? And so so everyone's on a different clock. So I want to know, I want to see a movie or TV show that deals with how society handles itself when humans are so spread out amongst the stars.
Interstellar, I guess, in a way, right? It answers some of those questions. Yeah, some of them, not all of them, but
Dune kind of covers it, but the way they get it, the way Frank Herbert got around it is, I'm pretty sure they had instant transportation using the Transportation Guild,
right,
to get in between different planets and stuff.
Exactly.
Because that's a society that's spread amongst so many stars and planets and stuff. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that interests me, because I mean, think about it. I mean, think about how weird your life would be if you left here on Earth and you woke up 12 years later in a different solar system. And I don't know. I mean, time is all wonky and relative. Like, you spent 12 years on the ship, but it's been 1200 on the planet or whatever.
Yeah, and can you mentally handle it too? I mean, kind of thing, right?
Or and like even the show and the books, The Expanse, which probably my favorite of all time, they talk about how you always have to think like 8 months ahead, because it takes 8 months to get some, like if you're trying to go to the belt, it's going to take you 8 months to get there. And so if you hear like an SOS, you're not going to get there in time, because it's going to take you 8 freaking months to get there. Sure, radio waves travel at the speed of light, but that still takes hours, if not days, to go across the solar system. It's stuff like that I find very interesting. Like some of the books, they're talking about traveling 14 months just to get to a destination, and they don't know what they're going to find when they get there, because it's going to be over a year before they get to where they're trying to go.
Good point. Yeah, I wonder if there's So if anyone listening, if you guys, if that sounds familiar, or there's a show or something that talks about these issues, let us know.
God, I love The Expanse, though. If you guys haven't read the books or watched the TV show, they're both very good. But I mean, it's like one of those things where they need to send a message, and they go, well, the message is going to take 9 hours to get there and 9 hours to come back, and we need to figure this out right now. We can't wait 18 hours to hear the response. So often what the main characters do is they just send a message saying, okay, this is what happened, this is what we're going to do, because we can't wait that length of time to hear back from you.
That makes sense, especially with these, and that's what it's called, The Expanse, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, really cool science, and this is happening now, and it's in the open. I can't wait to see what's going to happen 10 years down the road. I mean, I love that DARPA's seriously, I mean, we're going to have a civilization on the moon. They're not stopping. Like, if DARPA's doing it, and then they have all these companies now, there's energy companies, there's energy distribution companies using laser, and now communications. So it's going to be, I mean, humanity is going to be a spacefaring. I mean, we are, right, secretly a spacefaring species, but now it's going to be for the masses in a way. Maybe after they depopulate the Earth or something.
Okay, so I actually do have something more for Topher's corner.
Yeah,
I read the book Them by Whitley Strieber.
And
I have some interesting passages that I think he would enjoy. This first one is about using magnetic fields to affect the temporal lobe.
Okay.
So, Dr. Michael Persinger, who spent his career from 1971 until his death in 2018 exploring various methods of affecting perception by stimulating the temporal lobe, was able, using magnetic fields, to experimentally induce hallucinations. Thank you. Hallucinations that test subjects' experience as anything from the presence of aliens to a visit from God. He discovered that when a person's head is placed between two strong, alienating electromagnetic fields, a glow appears in their peripheral vision caused by the stimulation of the retina. There's more here, but this just ties into, how it might be possible that the entities can make us see what they want us to see.
Right. Exactly. By just hitting the right part of the brain. And I remember that experiment. Yeah, it was somewhere. It was. What did you say? It was the right side of the brain. It was
Temporal
somewhere in
lobe.
temporal lobe, but the right temporal lobe, right?
Let me see.
Or left. It was one of them. I
thought
remember
the temporal
that.
lobe was the front of the brain.
It is, but it's still divided.
I'm just
Is it?
reading.
Yeah, it's still split in half.
It just
yeah.
says the temporal lobe. It doesn't say.
Interesting. Well, now and that's why I brought this one back up, because that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing it a different way, obviously, trying to
Yeah,
make us lucid dream.
If I remembered right, I would have brought up that passage when we were talking.
Yeah, no, and you brought up before the show too, and you read those passages, and there was another one. There's another quote.
Yeah, I think I'm going to save it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
if you want to look it up, Shalisha Lee Ikimu Ran.
Alicia Yi?
Lee, Li.
Okay.
Ikimu, Ekimu. Ran, Ranm. And maybe we can discuss that next week. Oh, it's Shalisha, Shalisa. Shalisha Lee Ikimu Ran.
Here she is, the fantasy of the Galactic Federation with these streamers. Oh, so she's
Save it until next week.
Okay.
We'll do some research on it. I've got my book here, and we can talk about it next week.
All right.
Because it doesn't really
Nice.
fit in with anything we talked about this week.
Okay, will do.
Cool,
Awesome. Well, that was a good show. I think we just wanted to highlight Kirkpatrick and his temper
ways.
tantrum. Yeah, and calling us all conspiracy theorists because it's still the 1960s and this works, he thinks.
Mm-hmm.
And just how we kicked him off. His PR campaign didn't work. Okay, it's gonna work for like Mick West and Stephen Greenstreet,
of course.
Who,
yeah,
dude, the guy mentioned the Stephen Greenstreet article in his Scientific
really?
American Journal. Yes, I mean it just proves that he's a propagandist, paid propagandist. Yes, you are, Stephen, paid propagandist.
Oh God, what a mess! What a mess this is.
Yeah, and you, Mick West. Yeah, both of you guys, come on the show.
We'd love to have
debate
you.
guys.
We'd love to
easily.
meet you in person too.
I know, right? But shout out to all the followers and listeners. We love you all.
We do.
It's great seeing that the show is growing and that you give us 2 hours of your week, and as always, give us feedback. Let us know if we're doing a good job or not. Any subjects you want us to cover, we'll cover.
Yeah,
right, Topher?
Of course. Yeah, and we'd love to hear from you guys. We really appreciate you. We appreciate the feedback we've gotten, and we hope you are enjoying the show. Hopefully, if you've made it this far, you've enjoyed this episode too.
Yeah, I think it's a great episode. We did ask last week, or the week before, that if they want us to interview experts, like whoever, anyone in the UFO community, if they want us to interview them. No one responded, so I guess that's a no. It's going to be just you and I.
That's fine. I prefer it this way. It's more intimate.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, it'd be nice to bring someone in.
Of course.
Maybe someone from X. Those guys, those researchers who do day in day out all this research and sharing it, like Richard Geldreich. He'd be a good one, I think. Tiny Claus is gone.
I still think it'd be fun to link up with some of the other similar sized podcasts as us.
Okay.
And just maybe we could even do it separate and not make it like one of the main shows. Just do a separate show with them, and we just pick a topic and come at it from different angles.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Alien Scientist maybe might be a good one for us to get in there. I mean, he's been at this for so long now, and he's always been on the fence of if it's real or not real, if it's just human or aliens. He brings in the best guests. I'm sure he'd be open to it. We'll see.
Okay, cool.
But people like that, exactly, instead of the celebrities.
Right.
Well,
yeah. Plus, there's no way I could hang with like a Richard Dolan, for instance. Like,
why not? Of course you can.
He would talk. He's way smarter than I am. I talk I talk so much off the cuff and just guess at stuff. I think that's right. I'll just say that.
But I think you'd have great questions for him. You know,
I'd have great questions. I don't think it'd be much of a conversation.
Well, no, you're right. It would. Yeah, it'll be an interview. Like just ask and let him talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. Definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
Let the guy speak.
Yeah.
That's why he's on. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. That's I Want to Believe Adam.
Woo!
I am Tell It All Topher. And thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
Next week.
Bye-bye.